Hey everybody, it's Ray from Pro String. We'll be interviewing an American tennis player with a ranking of 225, and his ultimate best is 125. We'll be interviewing Noah Rubin shortly. Just wanted to give a couple minutes for everybody to log in. And I'll be stringing a racket whilst interviewing Noah Rubin, American tennis player from New York. He was Wimbledon champion, and we'll get a lot more questions going as soon as we get him online. And here he is. Noah, good afternoon.
How are you?
How are you?
Everything good?
I'm good, and you? Very good. Yourself?
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, just trying to get a little outdoor weather after this conversation, and I feel like I get stuck on the couch for too long.
I bet. And you're in New York, right?
I am in New York. I'm in Long Island right now, so
Long Island?
yeah, New York is definitely taking a hit. So it's not a great time, and as many people know, the first responders are doing whatever they can, but. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
For tennis players, just about sitting on the house and keeping in some kind of shape.
Yeah. Are you guys allowed to go out? You still allowed to go out? And what's the rules there?
Technically not. No. They were enforcing misdemeanors and stuff like that. But you can do walks every once in a while, and if you're going for necessities such as your grocery store, or medical, whatever the case may be, they do a lot of that. So. It's been tough. I think there's still too many people going outside, but you need to.
Yeah, I'm in London, and it's kind of the same. You are actually technically allowed to go out for a run, walk, bicycle ride as well. So yeah, it's tricky. It's hard. It's not too bad in London, but I can imagine if the rules are not to go out, I guess you guys can't go out for a run or.
We do. We go run, walk because we need to get out more. And for my mental health, I need to be outside. I mean, I'm struggling. I mean, the motivation.
This is the thing, right? Yeah. I mean, you guys spend so much time outdoors playing tennis normally. I mean, there's a few weeks a year that are indoor, obviously, but it's still doing a sport and running around. And it's mentally, it's probably more than physically, it's probably mentally challenging for all of us, but even more so if you're used to being outdoors and playing tennis, or even other athletes and stuff like that. Can't be easy.
No,
as we all know.
We're used to following the sun, and right now I haven't gotten much of that. So,
yeah. Have you got a little bit of a routine going, or how you just work out whenever you feel like it, or is it like religious 10 o'clock every day? Or
no, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to. One of the things I'm trying to tell my friends is you don't need a routine right now. Like you can enjoy not having a routine. At a certain point, I am doing kind of similar things. But as far as workouts and stuff, right now I'm basically just doing yoga. I'm trying just to maintain. Yeah, I'm trying not to. I was doing assault bikes and heavy workouts in the beginning, but we could be this for 6 months straight, and I'm not gonna have any motivation. So I want to be where.
Zen.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to cool the mental. And do something I've never had the opportunity to, which I want to practice. I want to learn how to do a split. That's what I want to do. I want to come away like a gymnast after this. So we'll see.
Is that right? Yeah. All right. So we'll see you in a few months with one of those pictures online that comes out with the splits.
Like Djokovic. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna crack on with stringing a racket here. I'm stringing a Wilson today. A Wilson ProStat 97S. And I'll ask you some questions, and we'll go with it. And if anybody has any questions, please join in, and we'll try to answer them as best as we can. Everybody hear us okay? Because the other day I did an interview, and it was echoing all over the place. Ooh. So just a thumbs up, everyone, or whoever can. Just make sure that you can hear us, if you don't mind. The few people that we have at the moment, see if just double check that everybody can hear us okay.
Come on, guys.
It's all right.
Come on, guys. Wake up. There we go.
There we go. All right.
Okay.
Sweet. So we'll start with a few questions about your rackets and your sports, your sports material and stuff. So you're currently using head, right? I believe.
Yeah, so there's been a few differences in the rackets. I'm trying out a few different rackets right now. So I was using head. I've used head for 12 years. So it's been a very, very long time. Before that, I was actually using vocal. My father started me in vocal. But yeah, I did head for a long time. And yeah, so, looking at a lot of different rackets right now is a pretty good time. Good time to look, not a good time to try, but just to see what's out there and seeing, what are the possibilities. So, yeah.
Which head are you using at the moment? Which head racket?
I was using a form of the Prestige. I was using Prestige. Right now, kind of incognito with the racket I'm using. It's kind of a secret that people will people will learn about in the next few months, but we'll see. I know it's tough for you.
What grip size are you using?
3/8.
3, yeah?
Yeah.
Because everybody has preferences. A lot of times, bigger grip, smaller grip, and it's just down to feel, I guess, end of the day as well.
Yeah, it's how it feels. I mean, I've tried so many different rackets, and 3/8 is different, basically based upon the shape of it. So sometimes they feel larger or smaller, because every racket company basically has a different feel for their grip. And yeah, so it's interesting just because I haven't had the chance to try all these different grips, and I felt them, and they feel very. I mean, the under grip is very different as well. So there's a lot of things you can mess around with.
Yeah, and I get a lot of people with my stringing business. A lot of people come up to me. Oh, I read online. There has to be a finger in between the fingers on the handle, and it's like, look, you just go with what you feel. That's especially with the grips and everything really to do with tennis rackets and strings and all these things. You just gotta kind of go with your feel. You got instinct. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No. I think almost everything in tennis is specialized and personal, and that's something that a lot of people have to learn. So.
Yeah, exactly. What strings are you using these days?
Hyper-G. I've been using Hyper-G for some time. When I was a kid, I didn't even know anything. I think a lot of people are asking if you could turn your camera to the racket.
I'm kind of set up, and
yeah, it's difficult. A lot of people don't get it. It's tough to.
Oh, right. I can't. I got it. Yeah. Let me. This could be complicated. Yeah, I get it. With the split screen, nobody can see. Let me see if I can manage this a bit. Give us a second, guys. I'm on a bit of a very special tripod, if you like. Well, it's not really a tripod. Let me see. Let me think of something creative real quick.
Bjorn.
Huh?
Bjorn Fertangelo joined us.
Let's see.
Bjorn's definitely cooking right now. I smell it from here. Okay, that looks good. There you go.
Really see.
That's good. No, I would.
Yeah, you thought that was okay?
Yeah.
Is that okay, everybody?
Yeah, you can see the racket. That's perfect. Yeah, just enough where. Ooh, you're not cooking, Bjorn. Interesting. Later. Perfect. There we go.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys. That's probably better, actually. Yeah, with the split screen, quite new to all this myself. So I've done a couple so far, and yeah. Anyway, just getting it right. Cool. So what gauge string do you use? You fussy with what gauge you're using? Do you change gauges or stick to the same one normally?
Yeah, once I started to figure out that string mattered, that took me a while. I grew up with coaches that were like, if you use a wooden table, you should be fine. Don't complain about it. That's what I grew up with. Which, is actually not a bad foundation to start it out with, so people aren't, complaining about different things. But, after that, I went to, Solinco. I knew Solinco for so long. I mean, before they basically started, they were very close with Lawrence Plager. And so I started with 4-byte for a very long time. And then I moved to what I thought was a little bit of a softer string, which was Hyper-G. And I was using 16 gauge for a while. And then from there, I found out I wasn't breaking Hyper-G and I wanted it even a little bit softer. And that's when I went to the 17 gauge. So that's kind of been my sweet spot. I've tried softer strings here and there. but they haven't been right for me. So a lot of it, for right now, it's just 17 gauge, and we'll see. I want to test out a few others, and I've tested out mixing mains and crosses, putting some here for people that don't know mains and crosses. Putting strings here and strings here can be different. That's a possibility. So,
a hybrid.
A hybrid.
So you think about going hybrid with polyester normally. Well, the normal way normally is the polyester on the mains and then the natural gut on the crosses. But Djokovic and Federer, for example, decided to go against the wave, and now it's the new kind of in thing to do. I get a lot of requests, even like people that have no idea, without any disrespect because anyone's watching me. Some people just don't understand about stringing, but of course, Federer and Djokovic, I want what they have, and
it's all personal.
I haven't actually tried it myself.
It's all personal until Federer and Djokovic do it, and then I want what they have.
Exactly. Have you ever strung a racket? Do you know how to string?
No, I don't know how to string a racket. I don't know how to string. Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing. A lot of people have asked me, and does it save you money if you string your own rackets? And to be honest, I know a few guys on tour that have. They bring around some of the smaller machines that I know a couple pro players have created.
Yeah, the pro stringer.
Yeah. And a lot of people find it to be
very good friends with Rubin.
Relaxing. With Rubin, yeah, a lot of people find it to be relaxing, but yeah, I just haven't had the motivation, to be honest. It's one of the things that I have budgeted into my expenses every year.
Yeah, it actually is quite therapeutic, believe it or not. Yeah, so it's actually a good time to learn how to string. You've got some time. Well, I know you're quite busy anyway, but maybe it's not the time because you've got other stuff going on. I know.
I feel embarrassed. I really do. I'm a tennis player. I should learn how to string a freaking racket. Like that should be just.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and I don't know if it's true or not, but supposedly Federer had never strung a racket. I think it was before his 20s perhaps, but he didn't really understand about strings, and the coach told him, look, you need to string a racket or two just to understand what is going on with your racket and just to get a feel, and you can learn more about it.
Exactly.
How true it is, I don't know, but somebody did tell me that the other day. I'm just tying up a knot here. What do you play? You play 2 knots, 4 knots?
4 knots.
4
and
knots.
Here's a question for you.
I
don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know the difference.
Okay, so 4 knots holds the tension much better, right?
Yep.
So two pieces always holds tension better. 2 knots will lose tension quicker, generally speaking.
So what's the positive of 2 knots? Are there positives?
It's down to preference as well, especially with players on tour. They might say, well, I'm not that fussed. Some people don't, like you say, some people don't know the difference. The two is, from a stringer perspective, you can string a little bit quicker because you just have the one piece, but not that much because you've got always that extra piece lagging around. So if you do 4 knots, you do 1, 2 knots like I just did now, just the first knot, and then you got to measure the string again, and tie the knots, and so again, so it's down to if nobody requests 2 or 4 knots, it's really down to the stringer's preference. But the real big difference is the tension, how it holds tension. So if you're really playing in a really hot climate, you want to keep your rackets, because a lot of times you string them the day before, and you really want them to keep tension really well. Then you want to hold on. You want to get them done really with 4 knots.
Makes sense.
In reality, yeah. Cool. What weight's your rackets? What are you playing with at the moment? How heavy are they?
Yeah, I've been experimenting. I've gone pretty high, probably in the 325 range unstrung, 320 range unstrung. But again, mixing it up, trying a few different things. The last 3 tournaments when I started to play pretty solid tennis throughout that time. I was using a heavier racket than I've used almost my entire life. So something I've been testing out with. But I've gone back and forth. I've worked a lot with Roman here in New York, who's known to customize a lot.
Oh, I've never met him, but I think I spoke to him a few times. I actually used to work for Masons. I don't know, you know Masons?
Yes.
When I lived in New York City, I worked for Mark Mason. Yeah.
So you know, Roman's one of those names in the tennis world. If you don't know him, he's customized rackets for everybody in the world.
Everybody.
He has this.
I can see everyone.
Yeah, he has this
He's very
happen in New York, basically in the city, that you just go upstairs, you can see everybody's rackets. But yeah, so I customized a little bit with him, tested out some weights, and it was cool just to learn the feel and the balance, and just to learn a little bit more about that stuff.
So you had to go every time you want to get rackets strung by Roman. You got to go into the city.
Yeah, so I mean, stringing, I'm not as fussy about stringing, but customization and stuff like that, I definitely go to him, and it's nice to have him. You know, the city's annoying to get to, but it's nice to have him close by.
For sure. And how many rackets do you string per match? If you playing a match next day, how many are you stringing up?
Yeah, I mean, I went back and forth. I used to string all my rackets, making sure I had at least 4 freshly strung rackets a match. And that's 4. Yeah, 4 at least. Yeah, so out of, let's say I travel with 5 or 6 rackets, 4 would be freshly strung. So that's kind of what I've done for the most part. Slams, sometimes I'm stringing all 6 of them. You know, at other times, you know, I actually have been traveling with just 2 rackets, so I've only been stringing 2 rackets, so it's been tricky.
Really? How did that come along? Just traveling with 2 rackets?
It had a lot to do with, you know, the early stages of Corona. A lot of the rackets were coming from overseas, and it was difficult to get them out. So now I'm playing matches with only 2 rackets, where win or lose the first set, I have to, I get somebody to run it down to the stringer, restring the racket so it's prepared for my second and third sets.
Wow. So Corona, even before we went to lockdown mode, you were already being impacted by the coronavirus. It's crazy. Wow. I didn't actually think about that. It's a good, not a good point, but I mean, a real point. What's you know, the consequences, the ricochet effect of what we're having to deal with.
You know, we didn't really know until it hit us directly, and the team was canceled. But again, I was already seeing that this was going to. I mean, just because, you know, they were dealing with stuff overseas, but I was still receiving packages from overseas, and they weren't preventing stuff. But yeah, it was tough. Definitely tough to play with 2 rackets at the time. And one thing I learned how to string rackets during matches and make sure that I was very vigilant of when my tension was dropping and stuff like that. So difficult, but you know, interesting.
Yeah. Someone just asked ProStat 97. Yes, sir. ProStat 97S.
Stiff racket.
So what tension?
Stiff racket right there.
Yeah, but this is the S. So
okay.
This actually is off the top of my head, it's 16. It's 1816. So it's actually got more mains than crosses, which if you were to go back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you would have never seen a racket with more mains than crosses. But now almost every company is pretty much making rackets with more mains than crosses. It's kind of the in kind of thing, and yeah. So, but you'll break a lot of. It's very powerful. So it is a stiffer frame, but you'll break. The ball does come off a lot more because of the stringing pattern. It's got only 16 mains, so the holes are quite large. Let's say in between mains and crosses, so it's quite a powerful racket. But yeah, especially the other ones. Yeah, they're definitely stiff. And this one only weighs. Sorry to get sidetracked, but this one weighs 290, just 290. This one's 290 grams. So, so what tension do you play at normally?
Yeah, I mean, I started at 58 when I was a kid, starting high, 58 pounds, and started getting lower for the better part of my career. I was playing anywhere from 52 to 54. And then in the past year or so, I went to 45 to 47. So
no way.
So definitely a lot. That's where I'm at right now, and went to playing without a Vibrazorb as well, which was kind of a new.
Without what? Sorry?
Without a dampener.
Without a shock absorber. Yeah. Okay, so you're not playing with a shock absorber anymore.
No.
And you used to use the shock absorber because
just the feel of it and the sound. I couldn't take the sound.
The sound,
For some reason, playing without it, there's a feel of it that I like much better. I gotten used to the sound now, but it's funny to see how I've advanced.
Cool. Very cool. So just going to change a little bit. Conversation going to go into a little bit about your career. You won Wimbledon juniors, right? When was that? That was 2014. 2014, so 5-6 years ago, pretty much, almost.
Yeah.
How was that experience? Because you're still a junior at that point. Did you have ATP ranking already at that point?
I did. So I wasn't playing juniors at that point. I actually got most of my I got my high ranking in juniors when I was 15, 16. So I was, about 6th in the world at that point, and then after that, I found I got everything out of juniors as I wanted to, even without winning a slam. So I went to play pros at that point. I was playing professional. I got to about, I think it was 5-10 ATP was, kind of what I was getting to when I was 16, 17 years old. And at that time, if you had an ATP ranking, it got you into ITF tournaments, even just Grand Slam, junior Grand Slams. So I got a wild card to qualies of French Open and Wimbledon that year, and that was the only juniors I played. So, lost. How did you do at the French? French, I qualified, lost third round to Quentin Halys.
Okay.
And then,
tough player. Huh?
Yeah. Then Wimbledon. I was kind of done after French Open. I was like, I don't know what this is doing for me. It doesn't really make any sense. And then my dad's like, let's just go have fun. We'll go there 2 days before. We'll just enjoy it. And qualified. Began to play every American known to man in the draw and found myself titling. And it was just an incredible experience, obviously. It was out of the blue. It was really out of the blue.
That's amazing, isn't it? You just don't think sometimes in tennis when you take the pressure off a little bit, you think, okay, let's go play. Let's go and see what happens a little bit. And you're a little bit more relaxed and less pressure perhaps, and things just happen, right?
Yes, 100%.
Cool. And then a few years later, you found yourself, was it last year, the year before, beating, I don't know who came first, but I know you've beaten Isner.
Isner was 20. Oh my God, I'm always blanking. 2018? Yeah, 2018, I want to say. Yeah, so I beat Mikhail Yuzny first round to play Isner, and then that was my best win. And people don't remember, but I actually had to play a match again that night against Rublev, which was exhausting. I had to play him at 11 o'clock at night because it was rain delayed. And
that's never fun. Beating Isner. I mean, you can think, well, I played Isner, but okay, it's big serve, huge serve, not like big serve, different level itself. So at least half of the points when he's serving, at least a bit quicker. If you would have had to play another top 30, let's say, and grind point after point, and then you got to play again.
I know. I mean, I found myself, my goal against him, because I actually played Isner before that at the French Open. I got a wild card to main draw French. Played him at the French Open, had set points in both the second and third set, and lost. And all I was saying was, I just want to play him again. I just want another chance. Played him. So I'm standing 40 feet behind the baseline, literally running after his serve. So it was exhausting. It really was.
Yeah, of course. For sure.
My mom's on this, and she's telling me it was 2018. Thank you, mother.
What did she say?
She said it was 2018, just to make sure.
2018, she was confirming you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, cool. And then I believe you also beat Luca Pouille.
Yeah, so that was this year. That was,
Oh, that was this year, was it?
Yeah, that was one of the last matches I played before coronavirus. So, I got some confidence at the last 2 weeks before coronavirus. I was playing well. I beat Mackenzie McDonald, Paolo Lorenzi, Dennis Istomin, and then Pouille, and I was playing well in these 3 tournaments. So it was a lot of fun, but tough that Corona kind of stopped the momentum.
I won't lie, I watched a little bit of that match last night, and it was a pretty good match.
Thank you.
Lots of long rallies. I mean, Pouille really just, when he shines, man, he really shines. But you played a really good match. I have to say that was a really, really good match.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It had everything. Definitely had a bit of everything. Yeah. Really good match. Yeah. So you said best match played is there? Yeah, you take that one and say that was your best one match.
That was my best ranking win by far. Not by far. That was my best ranking win. My first time ever playing a Grand Slam. I beat Benoit Paire first round, and at the time he was ranked 17 in the world at that time. So that was my obviously that was a great win. 6-6-6 first round of Australia. So that was a lot of fun.
Wow. Yeah. So I know you're doing a little bit of you're a bit of an entrepreneur from what I understand. You're doing not just things on court, but you're doing some things off court as well, right?
Yes, I've had a little bit of that entrepreneurial spirit. I saw what I like to say is some areas were lacking in the world of tennis, and I wanted to be a part of making them a little bit better. That's really it. So, a lot of this has been in the world of mental health, but now it's going in a lot of different directions and just trying to make waves.
Sure. Yeah, that's really good. I think that's really good for tennis. People really need a channel where you have behind the racket, which you created, and people have a chance to voice their story, which is quite special. I think, especially in the era we're living. Yeah, definitely. What made you start that? How did that start, and what made you start? I mean, how did that come about?
I saw some issues with tennis that in a sport team, you can follow the team. You root for a team because you're a part of the city, or you have a relationship to the city or the stadium, whatever the case may be. In a sport like tennis, you want to follow the player. You're following that specific person. So I think tennis did a very poor job of marketing the player and finding out who they actually are as people. So I think, I just wanted to give players the opportunity to share their story, to share who they actually are. And at the same time, get this new excitement in the world of tennis, because now I get messages saying, oh my God, I'm following the story now because my son has a stutter, or I went through that or this, and they're relating to these players, and now they're going to watch them. Obviously, this is a tough time, but at least it gives people the opportunity to relate to them at a deeper level.
I think that's amazing. That really is that's great. I really think. I wish there was more people out there trying to do things for tennis, because I'm a tennis geek, freak, whatever you want to call it. I traveled on tour with my brother, coaching my brother, and I played a little bit of futures and things myself. And I just wish more people felt what perhaps yourself, or maybe they do feel it, but maybe they don't know how to channel it, or all these things also cost money. I mean, things are a little bit more accessible these days with Instagram, Facebook, all these things we have access to, which are free to a certain point. But definitely, yeah. So, good shot, man.
I'll answer this question though.
Go for it. Yeah, I can't see the comments, guys, because I'm a little bit farther back. And
not that the show's the best light, and be honest, I really try not to smash rackets, but I do remember a time.
Especially when you only had two.
This was a really dark moment, and I think, and half of it was by accident. So, broke one racket on my back. Then broke a racket on the floor, so that's two rackets. But then I found out that when I broke the racket on my bag, it actually did include a racket break in the bag. So that was now 3 rackets broken. And I'm sure my mom's going to also remind me about a moment when I was younger that I was playing. She hasn't typed yet, but I'm sure she'll say something. But I was playing Super Nationals in the U.S., and I just left after winning a match. I left my bag on this driveway, and a car ran over it. So it was a driveway to nowhere, and there was people standing on it and around. But I guess people left, and this car ran over it. Basically, out of, let's say, 5 rackets, 3 were immediately cracked. 1 I played with in the finals. Then I cracked it in the finals through a forehand, and then the final one was off. So that was probably it was accidental, but one of the worst moments I had. But that was accidental.
Wow. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, I can relate with the racket one. Once I actually went to throw my racket, on the bag, and I missed the bag. It was a brand new Wilson frame, the 6.1 Pro set. I literally missed the bag. I lost the throw. I got bagels in the first set, and I missed the bag, and it was right next to me. But that's a different story for a different day.
That's how it works. And thanks, Mike T. Tennis. Yes, I made a final once in my career. That's my partner for all my podcasts. If people don't know.
Okay, so you've got a podcast as well. I wasn't aware of that. Very cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going back a little bit to how things could be possibly better in tennis and things like that. So if you were the director of the ATP, what would be the first or second thing that you would do tomorrow? So tomorrow you get named director of the ATP. You go in. What do you do?
Yeah, you're asking a lot of me right now. I mean, I kind of created my own little format that would incorporate a shorter season, so it would be January through September, and you would have league, like team matches within your own basically division and league. So there's 3 divisions around the world, and it's built on continents basically. So you have North America, you have South America, you have Europe, and then you have Asia and Australia. And these team matches, you get individual points through these team events that allow you to get into Masters 1000s and Grand Slams. So you have the best of both worlds. You have team events that brings in new fans. You have rowdy fans. You have DJs. You have music and food. It's during the weekend. There's shorter events, shorter formats. Before the traditionalists, we still have Grand Slams and Masters 1000s, which, to be honest, is all that tennis players really care about. So that's kind of what I've created. And, obviously this is not going to change overnight. So we'll see what, we can do in the meantime.
Have you been asked this question before, or you?
Only about 3 times a day.
Seriously? Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point, which I've been very fortunate, and if Mike is still on watching this, he'll hate this, but, I've made a name for myself that I'm kind of some of the people to go to when asking about changes in tennis and mental health and what we can do. So it's given me a platform, which I'm forever thankful for, but I just have to use it correctly. So, but I do have some of the thoughts that I'm already looking into and seeing what we can do to help the sport.
Amazing. Very good. Very good. Box of surprises, man. Just one after the other. I thought maybe someone might have thought, oh, he asked him yesterday. He asked him before the interview, what would you do if you were the director? Nah, not the case. Okay, but you get asked a few times a day, so fair enough, man. Fair enough. So what's the silliest thing or the dumbest thing that you've done on tour? Is there anything that stands out in your mind you think, I really shouldn't have done that? Or is there anything that you kind of regret whilst being on tour? Think, I really shouldn't have done that? Maybe when you're younger. Or...
That's tough. I mean, for the most part, what everybody in my family likes to say, I'm kind of like an 80-year-old in a 24-year-old body. I've always been that grandfather, so, I'm not one to do anything crazy. I mean, of course, there were times when I was playing junior tennis and we're doing hotel tag and ding dong ditch and all these dumb games. The parents are getting phone calls and everybody's getting upset. It's, again, I haven't done anything that crazy, but, we've obviously, I mean, I'm traveling around the world. We've done stupid things here and there and, but at the same time, I've been fairly respectful. So, yeah, I mean, that's my downfall is that I'm kind of boring in that case. You're not going to get any stories out of me like that. But I have enough stories to go around about my friends that might be for another podcast or Instagram.
And anything you regret? What's your biggest regret?
I think the biggest regret is just how much pressure I put on myself, and maybe not doing another year of school. Recently I've made sure that I'm happy, and I don't think I've always made sure that I was happy doing what I was doing. So I think, now looking back, there were definitely times where I didn't put happiness first, and I could have really enjoyed certain wins more, certain moments in my career more. But it was kind of fogged out by, by all the pressure I was putting on myself. So that's something that a lot of young kids can learn, that I learned now, and I can use it going forward. I'm still young enough, but I wish I learned it a little earlier on.
Yeah, cool. If you weren't a tennis player, or after your career, or before, if you weren't a tennis player, what would you have liked to do, profession-wise? What would have been your choice?
Yeah, I think, I find myself now either in the broadcasting commentary world, or, what I've always loved is, photojournalism. I love photography. I love writing combined, and I love, not breaking a story, but just finding new paths to, take a story with incorporating art and photography. So definitely can see that. And I am, utilizing those passions and things that I've done in my past to help behind the racket and tennis today. So, it's been very helpful. But if I never picked up a racket again, that's kind of the route I would go in.
Cool. So going back a little bit about your game, what is your favorite shot?
My favorite shot is definitely my backhand down the line winner. When I hit that clean, that's my favorite shot.
That's the tasty one, right?
That's the one.
That's the one, yeah. Very cool. Favorite tennis player?
It's tough. I always was a fan of Monfils. He was always a fan of mine. I was always a fan of his. And, going back, I was kind of, a David Ferrer, Nalbandian, James Blake. He was my idol, always my idol. So those were kind of the guys I always looked up to. It's tough to say less now because I'm a competitor and I don't look at them as much like that. But definitely along the lines of Ferrer was always somebody, and Nalbandian back in the day.
Yeah. Did you ever get a chance to play with these guys? With Ferrer?
Never got a chance to be. I mean, I've become pretty good friends with James Blake at this point. But Ferrer, I actually don't really know that well at all, which is disappointing. He's one of the few. Nalbandian, no. But it's... even Hewitt. Hewitt, I know a little bit, very, very little. But he was another one that I looked up to. But yeah, sadly, the ones that I've looked up to, I don't know that
well. Superstitious. Are you superstitious at all about anything?
I was, but until one time, I just was exhausted, covering all my superstitions. So I don't know. I just kind of find out that we have 50 matches a year, let's say, that it was just exhausting to do my superstition over and over and over again. So that's kind of what it was. I know a lot of players are superstitious, but I hope for your well-being that a lot of players will learn to just relax and enjoy the moment.
Yeah, excuse myself for all the noise. I think we just got a delivery. And I don't have really much of a choice, but I think under control. Sorry. Where am I going with this? All right. My daughter. Eva, say hi. You buy some chocolate milk. Very funny. All right. Well, I think. Did I ask you favorite player?
Yes. We were talking about the idols.
Monfils, yeah, sorry, that was the last one I asked you. Sorry, my bad. Anything else? Because favorite surface? I think I know the answer to this one, but let's hear it from you.
Favorite surface? Growing up
surface
was red clay. I did, my first, big results was Junior French Open. Then after that, obviously, I won Wimbledon, so I had fun on there. And then finally, my best results are throughout on hard. So, that's kind of what it's my short stature and my athleticism allows me to kind of be good on all surfaces, which is fun.
Cool. I think so. Let's see. If you guys have any questions before we wrap it up, just go for it.
My favorite.
I think I can see your favorite NBA player.
Oh, that's too tough. Back in the day, I don't have any favorites right now. But I was definitely like a Steve Nash back in the day, or Allen Iverson. Started playing futures when I was a day before I turned 15. I played my first future.
Is that right? 15?
Day before I was 15, yeah. On my 15th birthday, basically.
Qualifying rounds?
I qualified for for the first one I played, I qualified.
You qualified on the first one?
I qualified literally on my birthday, on my 15th.
This is one I didn't ask. Favorite tennis ball?
Ooh,
what's your favorite? They all play a little bit different.
Yeah, they all play different. It's tough not to be excited about a new can of Wilson balls. That's kind of just a go-to for all players. But it seems like they're changing balls all the time.
Cool. All right. Well, let's see if anyone got any other ones here. I know you're a big fan. We'd love to talk to anybody else. All right. Well, I think we're good to go now.
Thank you for having me on.
No, thank you, Noah. Thanks a lot for giving us a bit of your time. I know you're a busy man, even when you're not on tour. And I think that's all gone. Everyone headed downstairs. Yeah, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Good luck with everything, and hopefully we can all get back on court really soon, and you guys can all work your magic on court. And stay safe, man. Stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe. Thank you again for having me.
Not a problem. Thank you, Noah. Thanks so much, man. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We will be doing another streaming session next Monday with an Italian tennis player. I'll publicate it the night or 2 nights before. Stay safe, everyone. Oh, sorry, Mustafa. Question? I know Noah's gone, but can I answer it? No. All right, guys. Stay safe, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. See you again soon.